Well, looks like I've been unmuted the whole time. Oh my god, the chair's so creaky. It happens. Literally down to the second, guys. I've just finished the last thing I was doing. Right, we can get rid of that. Boop. Literally, right down to the line, guys. Optimal. Optimal. Refresh. Please don't break this time. Welcome, everybody. 8 o'clock on the 13th of April. It's a Sunday. Hello, Kirk. Hello, Fernicar. Hello, Vascular Degamatron. Stop giving out spoilers on the Drift Johnson paradox. Hello, everybody. Let me just get everything set up. I'm literally like, what? Just literally got here. I got a massive coffee. I had just enough time to make the coffee while we turn it on. Is it chill, though? I wish. Yeah, well, we'll see, won't we? We'll see. You guys can be the judge. I'm not feeling ultimately caffeinated like some days. So I suppose it depends what happens to the music. The pacing of the stream is very much determined by the music. But I have got a bunch of stuff which I'm trying to work on right now. One of them is an MCP. I'll give you a little look-see. That's not it. That's it. So this is an MCP server for YouTube downloading. And you think, well, that's a bit... Well, I'll show you why. It can do this. Look, for example. This, if it worked, it's still in development. If it worked, it would work like this. User, download this music video. I'll download that video for you. And then I have the YouTube downloader. I found the video. Rick Astley, never going to give you up. It's this long. Do you want me to download it in high quality or just the audio? Just the audio is fine. I've done it. Here's the thing. MP3, right? But more than that, I believe it can do a whole bunch of other stuff. This is the overview. Where's the readme? So the readme, so URL format quality audio only. So I thought it'd be interesting because you could pull the audio from a long form, like for example my live streams, right? You could take one of my 4-hour live streams and you could download the audio only, which wouldn't be that big a file, and then run it through Whisper to get to do analysis on what was actually said, because I want to get automation running to do a better description with timestamps and stuff. I swear I put this on mute. I've got no idea. I'm gonna have to shut it down. It's too noisy. I'll get back to it. Right. So yeah, the idea is it's able to pull that down, and so I was going to give Claude the ability to pull down MP3, and then we'd make an MCP to push Whisper and get transcripts, and then I already have a transcript tool. So right, it's already there. I'm just sort of building all the bits. But and the weird thing is, it does run, as you can see here. It does actually run. Hasn't successfully downloaded anything yet. But here's the problem. I can run it, but the problem I've got now is that when I go and check my MCP servers, I haven't got any anymore. So something about my config has broken it. So these are the things you have to try and figure out. But yeah, I think this would be a really cool tool if I could get it to work. I think the problem is that it's got this strange way of running, which the rest of them don't do it like that. The rest of them just contact the script. So because it's like always running, it's very strange. But anyway, well, let's see. Apparently it's up, right? So control click. Invalid or missing session ID. See what I mean? It's still gated away in dev hell. But that's not the point of what we're looking at tonight. And these are not ads, they're just things I might buy. So we've been working on something called Auto Panel CLI. Oh, and before I get into that, how could I be so rude? I've already said hello to everybody. But did I drink all the cans that the family bought me when they visited from Japan? No. I had 24 cans. I've still got quite a few left. Although it is giving me something to drink aside from coffee, so I welcome it. So, as I say, if you're watching live, or if you're watching later, I'm trying to find Discord right now. There it is. You'll find the join link in the description. You can join us, get involved, stop dooning, join the Discord. And don't forget, I'm running coaching sessions, but I bet most of you in the chat are either already doing it or just are here so often you get free coaching every night, right here from 7 p.m. every day. All right. So we're going to be doing a whole bunch of cool stuff tonight because I want to let you in on something. I want you to see the process from start to finish. And it's going to take me longer because obviously I'm going to explain everything as I'm going along. But as I said, speech bubbles, question mark, comic inversion, right? So, comic inversion. What the hell is comic inversion, Johnson? Well, I talked about it yesterday. I built it after the stream. Comic spittoon inversion. First iteration of the reverse comic book writing agentic framework. I need to make it unnecessarily more words, I think. But if I come in here, we have panels, we have story, we have Jovian, because this one is private. I'm actually going to give out a version with like default, okay? You know, the old Westwick with our detective in the noir setting, right? But this is, let me just give you the overview here, okay? Because it's actually pretty simple. Let me just switch. So, oh, where's my pen? Oh, I've got to put my glove on for this one. Hold up. See, I need to get a bigger glove. I got massive hands and it's like not comfortable. I need to get like a big one. Right. So, right then. Let me just move this a little bit and we can take a little dive into what we're going to be having a look at. So what is comic inversion? It's a lot like narrative spittoon inversion in that it takes the last page and it writes the story backwards. It works exactly the same, only the difference with this is it's not writing chapters, it's only writing the story for those 8 cells that you get on a page. Now obviously the density can be altered by yourselves, alright? So you can change that just by saying, oh, I want it this much or this much. Just alter the prompt, okay? So I'm going to show you what I've done. What I've done is I've put it into a couple of different sections here, right? So first of all, let's just grab orange. First of all, the plan, okay? The plan, wait, what? How is that not? Oh, it's slightly offset because of this weird setup I've got here. Do you know what? I think I'm going to just fix that real quick, guys, because it's going to bug me every time we do this. What I need to do is I need to unlock it. No, not that one. Not that one, that one. I need to unlock that one. Oh, I know what to do. This will be even quicker. I'm just going to copy this one. I'm going to take it back. Art time. And we're going to delete this. Yeah, black void, and then paste that one, and then put it to the bottom. Hey, there we go, I'm back. Right, let's continue. Now I can actually write, and I go, plan, yes, perfect. So basically the plan contains the prompt that actually created comic inversion itself, and then also inside there is the first plan from Claude. So I've included both things so you can take a look at those, right? For people that are interested in building all kinds of stuff like this, right? Next thing, Laura, right? It doesn't actually contain the Lauras, okay? What it actually contains is the caption lists. caption lists for the lauras you want to use. So what that does is it keeps your prompts, when you're generating prompts from the story, it's going to, you know, the image prompts for each scene, it's going to be inside. So if you've got a load of pre-trained style lauras, it will automatically make prompts for your lauras which are related to the story. Okay, next thing, Jovian. That's my story bucket. So that's got my project instructions, my characters, my world, all of that other good stuff. Okay, and then panels. Now panels is interesting, and do you know what? I think we might just disappear. We're gonna go full screen for this one. I'm gonna have to pull out the old school. It's gonna be, we're talking about the panels, okay? And this is something I have to lay out with our favorite billion-dollar Microsoft software, flagship of the collection, as they say, in Blackboard mode. All right, I do like I do like this. Okay, so it goes like this, guys. Right, two things, because, well, let's just lay it. Let's lay it out. So obviously, in a comic book, you have a page, usually a better draw page than that, and then you will have little panels that come down the screen. Yeah. And as you might imagine, we would number them 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay? This would be page 1. Right, page 1. Yeah. Okay. All good so far? I'm sure you all know what the hell, you know what I mean? We're laying it out though, right? So, we have a story, so we have our last page and we go backwards through the pages until we get to the beginning. That's the inversion. So the same narrative spittoon. Okay, so then we've got our story now, right? So then what we do is we say, right, I want you to read each page going back forwards again. Until you get to the end. And sometimes it needs a nudge. Sometimes he gets to page 3 and he goes, I've finished. And then you're like, yeah, do the rest of the pages though. And he will eventually do it begrudgingly, okay? And here's the magic, right, which is interesting, I think, which we can automate and do other things with. So I'm not just telling him to turn it into a comic book, although I am, okay? I'm telling him to make a pair of files. In fact, I'm telling him to convert the page into many files. So for each page, it's going to break down the story into the cells. The number of cells I think I used to default was just 8. So it's not going to write ridiculous amount, okay? It's going to write like a page because we're just testing this. But the idea is you get a file, which is an image prompt. Okay, so we get lots of files for each page. Each one is a cell. Okay, then we also get a pair. Okay, so we get 2 text files out of every cell. So this would be cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, cell 4, cell 5, and so on until there are no more. So it turns the story. So we wrote the story backwards, and then it reads each story and turns it into image prompt for cell 1, image prompt for cell 2, image prompt for cell 3, and it pairs it with any speech that may be taking place during that which it's describing. Okay, so that means blue is image prompt, and then green is speech. Can we even do speech in this? Oh my god, E's are hard to do. Anyway, So the point is you end up with a pair. So what we did is we took the last page. So we wrote the last page. End. Oh, there you go. You can do an E like that. So we do the last page. End. Go all the way back. Beginning of the story. Next task. This is all in one, by the way. Next task. Read the story. Convert it into cells. 8 per page usually, but I don't think I defined it. I think it just is it that way. Image prompt. Potential speech. Right? So that's what we've got. Save as the comic inversion. Alright? Okay. So now we continue. Art time. Hello, Full Dive Media. Welcome, welcome. So glad you could join us. Hello to everybody who's hanging out, lurking tonight in the stream. So, comic inversion. So what is this? It's everything I just explained. Okay? It writes the story backwards, pairs image prompts with speech content, and then some style. There are some style references. Like I allowed it to put like narrator stuff in if it wants. Okay? And I used Hero's Journey in reverse, but that's actually not baked in, and you'll see. So you can reverse engineer the narrative, generate the comic panels, maintain the visual consistency, and create complete comic books. Now, I've already got Auto Panel, which is doing the other side of it. It's taking those sequence of images and turning them into comic panel layouts. That already works, okay? So all we're doing is we're adding an additional layer on top, which is the speech bubbles. So the idea is 1, 2, 3, skip a few, comic panel composer v2, right? Which is going to be made to take the additional information from this system, so that then not only are we assembling the images and everything automated, but we're also generating the images that were being assembled in the first place, like a wrapper around the tool, okay? And then finally we'll make, this is the bit we're going to design today, is the speech bubbles. Because the thing is, right, the problem with speech bubbles is where the hell do you put them? And I think I got a way of just saying, okay, we'll put them in this corner, or this corner. And, you know, the way I look at it is there's got to be some work, and like maybe the human deciding where the bubbles go isn't so bad, but what I want to do is make a system that's like going to give a bit of jitter. So you can pick a corner and then give it a bit of jitter, you know? That's the idea anyway. We'll see how it works out. But there's literally nothing. I've done nothing. I've got no code. All I have is where we're at. So we've got this, which is still currently private, although I've got it on the other machine. So I'm going to grab a memory stick and just dump the data off of it. Did I actually include everything? I think I actually included everything just in case I didn't have my machine. Let me double check it real quick. Comic Spittoon inversion. Right. And I think what I did was in the panels I put a zip file. Yeah. Alright. Okay, it's time to roll them sleeves. Full screen? Probably not necessary. Alright. I need to grab this. I need to come in here. What is this? This is the YouTube thing that doesn't work. Right, close that. I don't need an MCP right now. So we're going to open up the folder. We're going to go into Tools, where I make all my best projects. And we're just going to call it Bubbles. And we're going to need git clone. I'm going to need that. I'm going to need the Spittoon inversion thing. Okay, and then the first thing I'm going to do is go into the panels and just basically expand that. It was too many files, you see, so had to do it this way. There we go, get rid of that. Okay, so as you can see, there's 96 files here, right? So we've already done it, right? Image, prompt, right? So there's the prompt. It's quite a long prompt, I'll give you that, but it's a prompt. It's probably way too long. There's stuff we need to do to tweak it, but as you can see, blah, 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 image. Right? But if I go to image, that's page 0, cell 01. I come down here, we will find the speech. Page 0, cell 1. Johan, there's the speech bubbles. So we've got it. So there's a little bit of like regex scripting that's going to need to happen. Like, probably we don't actually need the names, but they're useful for us. Do you know what I mean? So what you might end up doing is having like some kind of parser that sits in between. Did it just turn my computer? You know what? This power saving thing drives me nuts. Can't turn it off. Hang on. We lost one of the monitors. He's coming back. Plays havoc with the multi-screen setup. Okay, we're back. So the idea is animate XJX airship. So that means that tells me which LoRa I need to make the images. Okay. XJX, 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 XJX. And so the plan obviously is we make the images on one fork. So I may as well just... So 1, story. 2, panels. That's this thing here, which is speech. Speech and scenes. Okay, that's the idea. Now obviously the trigger that's being used is going to tell you which LoRa you need to make it. So you're going to end up now with like 2 processes coming off this, because you can't do them both at the same time. You just can't. All right, but you can do the bit after that at the same time. So what I'm doing is I'm shooting for that part. So what I want to do is I want to grab one page. Okay, I'm probably going to grab like page 0. Okay, so I'm going to make this into a smaller job so I can test it. So I'm going to grab page 0, start of the story, those 8 cells. We're going to make those 8 images with those LoRas. It's not too complicated. Okay, we'll put them in a folder so they're able to be auto-paneled, and then we'll be left with the speech pairs. And as I said, the speech pairs probably don't need that much formatting. Yeah, I mean, it's possible to say like Johan is always at the top. So if you see a Johan, it's always at the top, and then if you see a syndicate, it goes to the other side below a bit. And then if Johan talks again, it goes to his side. And so there's actually, you can use that as a hook to determine like where things go, and you know, and then we can tell it to drop it, you know, because obviously the image generated should be our recognizable character and some goon, you know what I mean? If you can't read that, because it is pretty small, can we turn this up? It's tiny. Yeah. Bring that out a bit. So these are the lines. Oh my god. Yeah, you can't read crap. Bad idea, Johnson. And it's stuck like that forever now. There. Right. I wish there was an eraser for this thing. There isn't an eraser. Isn't that strange? You have to just dump the lot. Anyway. Or maybe black is the eraser. Whatever. It's new. So anyway, guys. That's what I'm saying. You're going to have to do the speech separately. So what I want to do is I want to do what I said. So let's do the experiment, which is take page 0. Those are the image prompts. So I'll say sample. There we go. And then we go into panels and we get speech 0. And this is just going to be data at the moment. It's not, you know, and I could change this as well to make it format it better if I want, so it can like clean it up on the input rather than trying to do loads of work on the output. But this will be an investigation to see how close we can get. What I meant to say earlier was the problem with not knowing where to put the bubbles is kind of solved because we're not actually putting the bubbles into the paint. Well, we are, but because we have the layout, we can use the layout to determine where the bubbles go. So, you know, we don't have to detect the panels because we're assembling it. So we already know what those locations are when we're doing the taking the images and putting them into a grid. When we take the images, it'll come with speech panel. You know what I mean? In fact, I probably didn't explain that. See what I mean? There's so many moving parts to this. So if you have a bunch of images and you have a bunch of speech bubbles, and you want to put them into a grid layout, we already have a tool which is going to take those, no problem, and put them in. So at the point that we actually take the image, we take both. And then we have another script that goes, while you're working in that area, stick a bubble there with this text in it. And then when you go to this side, put one there and use this text. You see? And so on. And it's like a trick because the auto alignment of the grid, when the grid goes in, it just brings it with it. When the grid goes in, it brings it with it. When the grid goes in, brings it with it. Yeah? Brings it with it. And then it just assembles it. So as far as it's concerned, it's actually only doing one image with a thing. So the big challenge is going to be, is the text going to be readable? Because obviously if I bring the text in here at 10 points and then it gets brought over, if there's any scaling, it's going to be like 5 ? Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see. Also, what I would like to get control of is when we actually talk about the bubble itself, a lot of people always ask about the corner. And there's a bunch of ways you can fix that. And I was thinking about using a mirror trick. So no matter where the bubble is, it's the same shape, but it's mirrored there on the X and on both on X and Y. So it's the corners actually in the same place. Obviously you'd probably offset the bubble a bit, you know what I mean? But because what I thought was when you have a person in a scene and you have him in a scene like this, typically if you've got a grid like that, all you have to do is say, well, we'll put him on there, and then that bubble is always, no matter what, because, you know, we've decided to put him on the right, and then if the cell's on, you can just flip the cell. So then you only actually, you know, that's another way of getting around it is you only ever actually do it one way, and then you just flip the image. But what I want to do is have a different setup. So at the moment what we have is we have, let's do this from the top down actually. So what we want, let's get a different angle on it. So if we have like our speech bubbles, okay. So probably I put it on the wrong corner after all of that. We should have put it on there. So we have that's one layer, okay. And then underneath it we obviously have the actual panels. So they're going to go, you know, down like that. But what I wanted to, because this is what we're talking about, obviously, and then you've got the page, yeah. But here's the thing. Remember we have that frame, which is like a fat grid, you know, with like, it's got colors and stuff, and you can like brand it. It's like an overlay. I was thinking we put the overlay in the middle, so the speech bubbles are on top, and then what you end up with is you end up with your guy, and you get the speech bubble, and maybe the speech bubble can go over the edge, because I remember being super impressed. We saw this comic book when we were looking at them, and there was this comic book that had this style that was kind of like this, and you had your person in there, And then his speech bubble went over the edge like this and stuff. And I was like, that's really cool. And so I thought, put it on the very, 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 very top. How will it know not to hide an important part of the image? Well, that's the most important. That's the trick, isn't it? See, here's the thing. So if we have, let's give you a key here. If we have our comic book, we'll say a 2-column layout. It can do 3-column as well if you want, but let's just go with 2. Okay. If you have the layout like this, and it's like, well, how does it know not to cover the thing? Oh, aha. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 is a prompt for cell 001 or whatever. This one. Yeah? So we run that 100 times. Which one did you want? You're going to have to curate the best image. So the human element is actually in the arrangement of the outputs. So in other words, if you are not good at curating images, you'll probably fail. But most people are. If they've been in AI for a while, they get an eye for it. So the trick is to keep the human in the loop. Yeah? We can automate everything, but that doesn't mean you're going to get good quality. Okay, so this is where, so we got a curation step. Okay, and then that means 3, we actually have now a sequence of images with file names. Okay, like 1, 2, 3. That goes to the next step. Because let's be honest, guys, you know, maybe not 100, but you're going to be re-prompting each cell. It's not like going to be one shot. I mean, look, let's be real. It's probably more like 10 for your preference, because it is close to one shot. But I can't say, oh, it's just going to make every image perfect every time. And you're right. How do you make it match? And you can't make it match, really. Not right now. You would have to do vision on every image and like ask a question. It would take so long. And so it's so much easier to just go, that's the image prompt, make it, right? And then you pick the best one to match the lines, to be honest, because those are the lines that are going to go on it. Because remember, we have a pair for every prompt, which is speech. We have a parallel data set. So good question, Klesk. Brilliant question. And the answer is, that's the art part. That's where you put yourself into it. Because at the moment, we've automatically generated everything. We've generated our story backwards. We've turned it into prompts. You know? Hey, Dragon Diffusion is back. Looks like the dog was playing with his friend Betro today. Welcome, welcome, guy. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, that's you know, so a very theoretical stream we've been having tonight. You know, lots of drawing on the, lots of scribbling, but it's all a setup, because otherwise, how the hell do you know? Like, what are we even doing? So we have image prompts, and we have some speech, which potentially could become bubbles. So the next thing we have to plan out is the Pythoning. So we need a speech bubble maker. Probably regex. I'm not sure exactly what. It'll be Pillow or something probably, I don't know, but I want font support. And if I can, CSS would be even better, because then you can, like, you know, do black background, you know, you can do various little styling things, but we'll see. We'll see what it can do. So the actual speech bubbles themselves will be created programmatically from this speech pair. That was the whole reason of, like, at the same time that you make the prompt from the story, you pair the prompts with the speech bubble data, because then you've got the LLM to do that for you. Yeah. So then obviously we're going to have to do flux. I'm going to have to make some images. Makes more pics. Alright. So then, I hope I've laid that out for you guys. It looks like I don't need to get the data off my machine. I've got it here. So we have it in bubbles. It's there. We have all the data. So now what we're going to need to do is turn that into... I'm going to do it manually. I'm just going to do one page at a time. But what I would do is I would make a prompt list out of the image. You know, I'd take the image files. What the hell? Oh, I've gone into the wrong folder here. Hang on. Sample. Right. So what I would do is I would convert all of the image into a prompt list, and then I would just let it run. I'm not going to sit there and do them all. I'll let it run like so if there were 100, I'd literally queue 1,000 and go to bed, just being real. But for the purposes of the demo, you know, or go and do something else. Maybe it's the middle of the day, so. But yeah, let's grab Flux and we'll get these models. It's going to be my airship models. We do actually have them here, like I said. So these are the prompt lists for the LoRa's which I want to use while I am making the images. And they're all from a single project. So you might remember them if you've been here for a while. So let's go ahead and get ourselves. See, this is quite a nice one. This is. Oh. Is Flux not? Oh, Flux is dead. Where are we now? End video. It's probably a good place to start, don't you think? I thought it was already running, guys. Alright, well, while we're waiting for that one to fire up, I've been over the composer, I've been over the comic spittoon. So auto panel it's known as, but yeah. So yeah, write the story. So yeah, just in case, actually that's a good point. So what did it do? It made the story. So obviously you won't be able to read it very well from where you're sitting because it's just like, you know, on the screen. But you can see there's the beginning of the story. It's going to move through using the hero's journey, you know. Until it eventually gets to the last page that I wrote. And do you know what? I think it's actually rewritten the last page in the process of, you know, probably when it came to writing this as a comic, it probably went, oh, I think I better rewrite that as well, actually. So I'm not sure what's happened here. That could be a bug. That's not my page. But anyway, here are all the cells. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have a go at generating page 0. Whoops. So it looks like lots of airships and stuff. So in fact, look. Okay, so the first line on page 0 is Captain Van Hale. Floating city in the sky, skyport light. Representatives in the docking bay. To be honest, if it makes sense, I don't care, but it's so funny you make it and it just is complete Swiss cheese. I think the scenes, as I read these scenes, the prompts make sense. So what about the speech? Look, that doesn't make sense. The speech for page 0 is like not what's on the page at all. Tell your boss the price just went up. But it does make sense to what this is, though. I wonder what's happened here. I don't... Wait. Yeah, wait, what? No, but that is my page. Am I like blowing my own mind? I swear we just looked at this. Oh, it's added to the end of it, hasn't it? Yeah. Okay. It's expanded it. That's what's happened. But what I'm trying to say is, Flux is ready. Okay, so what we're going to do is change this over to be the comic testing. Get rid of Empire style for now. Oh wait, we can just turn it off. Well, that's fine, I'll just get rid of it. And now, what is the first prompt? Anime QPQ City. Anime QPQ City. That'll be Airship Cities. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to break the link because we're doing it manual. That's way too long. I bet we get an error for over tokens. That's such a long prompt. It looks like 90 tokens, I'm guessing. It's going to take a while, isn't it? Yeah, it always... Oh! Whoa. Ain't no way. Whoa, is it already loaded? Normally it takes like 20 minutes to load the clip. Alright, well, just in case it's not, I'll keep an eye on this down here. So we need to think about the actual, the next part of this, which goes outside of this here. All we need to do is fork the auto panel and start, you know, yeah. Because I'll have a folder of images in a minute, and then I'll have the speech, and we'll be trying to marry the two. So, let's get that folder open, Bubbles. I could do it in the same folder, but it might make things really confusing. Let's see. Do you know what? I think it's going to be okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be okay. I can always just delete the comic Splatoon because I've got it on Git anyway. Oh. Okay. Now, just FYI, because I gave away this story bucket to do with the story that we're going to illustrate, I thought it would be more appropriate to actually train a proper model that reflects Westwick, so that, and then give this model out, and then have this be it. But it's not a comic style. Do you know what I mean? This is more of a graphic novel type deal. It's a bit flooded in Westwick, yeah. But I've already got I'm curating the model. It hasn't been trained yet. But the idea is to say, look, put the Westwick captions into, you know, so when we release Comic Splatoon, it'll come with prompt list for Westwick, and then it will come with the story for the default story, same as, you know, the last release. So then you've got like a fully working story bucket to work with, and an illustration lorry you can just grab from Civet and just immediately start making stories and then illustrating them. So when this is all working, you'll be able to just do that. But at the moment, I haven't got this trained yet, so that means I'm just going to use the anime loras, which were originally made for this like last year. They've been superseded by the new Thora set. In fact, there's a whole new airship model coming out soon. But anyway, I don't want to get on with it. Or I do want to get on with it. So yeah, that might be panel 1, but it's not a good size for a comic panel. So I'm thinking, and look, you can shoot me if you're an expert, but I'm thinking 9:16 isn't the move. I'm thinking probably like either 2 to 3, maybe 2 to 3. No. I'm thinking maybe 2 to 3 or 4 to 5.
You're listening to 5below5.uk radio. I put this together with all the
Yeah, let's have a look and see how that is. Because this is very much going to be, we've only got 8 prompts, so we may as well, you know, make sure we get a good one, right? Wait, why is it suddenly slow? What's happened? What did I do? Did I change something major? I don't think I changed anything, did I? It's just stopped. So bizarre. I changed the aspect ratio. I've never seen it. Okay. How long until it broke? 46 minutes? It's not bad. But it's just dead, Jim. What are you doing, son? This just stopped? Right, well, while he's figuring his life out, I'm just going to add the rest of the airship models here. So, let's see. I think he's going to want to put. Oh, some of these are too new. Airship interiors V3. Yeah. What else? Airship locations. I think that's got a different name. I think it's cities V2. Yeah, I've already got that one in there. Airships V3. I guess that must be this one. It must be that one, surely. And then, yeah, look at it. Why is it taking 5 minutes all of a sudden? What have I done? Have I asked for some ridiculous... I only asked for 3 to 2. What's going on here? What is going on here? I think something's broken with it. I don't know. 5 minutes? You've got to be joking. Cancel that. You know how it'll interrupt itself and drop your job like easy, but when it's spazzing out, you can't stop the job. Yeah, 291 seconds. What the hell? I think it must have started running on when it said 22 or something. And now the clip has started loading. It's so weird. Comfy behaves very strangely these days. Like, why is it, and why are you now loading the clip again? Just blame my install. So we also want Thora. The latest Thora, please. That'll be that one, I think. QVL. Turn that off as well. Oh. Laura Nunn not found. Okay, so maybe it was trying to find... That was ages ago. Well, hopefully it's not going to take 5 minutes. Let's see. Windows meets Comfy UI memory management. Yeah, look, see, now it's working. Look, it takes 12 seconds or something, right? Lucky number 13, guys. Okay, so now we're getting the airship model. Thing is, this is not Westwick. Do you know what I mean? This is too Jovian. It's fine. It's fine. This is just for the demo. I'm going to make my proper model all gloomy and noir later. For now, we'll just do this because I'll do it again. Do you know what I mean? It's fine. So it's going to upscale that one, and obviously then you've got. See, the other thing is you can do a crop or you can auto. You know, I would do manual cropping as well as manual arrangement. You know, it gives you a little bit more control over the piece. You could also consider in-painting some of the pieces as well for additional complexity, because you're essentially working on a comic data set, which is cells. Each image is a cell in order. Can't it be from the heights? I suppose it could be. Let's have a look at the prompt and see where he is. He's at Skyport 9 docking bay right now, and he's Johan. So we've got some problems. I think what's happened is, because I put Thora in, Thora is from, you know what I mean? Because I've generated this with Thora, it's actually like used all of the keys from a different story bucket. So technically all of these are for the Jovian story bucket. I didn't have anything for, that's why, like I said, I'm making the new Midjourney model, but based on the Midjourney images, we'll make the Flux Laura, which will work in the exact same way as this one does. So locations, characters, and a style model. But for the purposes of the demo, it's just it's gonna be Jovian-esque. Even though it's telling the story of Westwick Noir, it's gonna be, for some reason, illustrated in a Jovian sky world style. Okay. But yeah, sure, it could be from the heights. So yeah, we're going to end up with a story bucket. Let's see, we're on comic testing. So what I should really have done is said comic testing P1 CO1. So page, oh yeah, it's actually page 0, isn't it? Derp. I haven't done it yet, don't worry. So yeah, right. So page 0, cell 1 is what we're on. If I just double check that. Yeah, page 1, cell 1. That's what we're doing. And the idea is, I mean, we're not going to be perfectionists. I'm just going to pick. What is it doing now? Why is it up to 5 minutes again? Why is it trying to run WAN 2.1 right now? What the hell? What? 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 Comfy's spazzing out, mate. Turn it off. What? It's running WAN. Why is it running WAN? No, it's not. It's gaslighting. Surely. Huh? Stop. No wonder it keeps on loading. Now I understand why it keeps loading Flux. One of these tabs is on instant mode or something. Probably the one I just killed. Yeah, I think I had a rogue tab on instant mode, guys. So I think we've gotten to the bottom of why it was being weird. Yeah, look, see, it's having to load it all again from scratch. Right, yeah. So I think I had a tab running on instant, and I hadn't used it because I think I crashed. I think I killed the server. Yeah, look. Oh, 78. We're 1 token over. I thought it was 90. It's 78 tokens. So I was close. I was like 12 out. But yeah, hopefully that has solved our problems here. So I'm going to get off the screen and get to it. Okay, that's a little bit cooler. So now what we're going to do is we're pretty much just going to take a prompt for each scene. Ah, and then we can get even smarter. Page O. Cell 01, right? Obviously it's a bit late for this particular file. I'll do it by hand, but I just realized we could actually just go ahead and put it in here for the upscale, because that's the one I want to keep anyway. That reminds me, I've got an experiment. Oh my god, I need to stop getting side quests. Let's just get it done. So we will, well, it's already saved, so I don't need to worry about it. Run it again. If it's different, it doesn't matter. Because I was thinking, like, you can run the same image over and over again. Eventually, you're going to get the good one, the one that you want to keep. Obviously, when you have a pre-trained model, we don't. These aren't pre-trained characters. It's just a style model. But I just want to see how this comes out. So we're testing the test output. It's quite cool. Man, it must be nearly coffee time because my coffee's getting cold. Sheesh! He's here. Hey, I might actually have time to train that style model you were after, by the way, soon. I'm sorry to make you wait, mate. This is your favourite song, is it? Okay, Dragon, this one is from my album. It's called This Is Nothing to Lose. Every song on the album is a quote from Scarface. I can't remember, what was the album called? Headlight, yeah. Alright, I'll get the headlight model is coming, don't worry. Okay. It's coming. So now what we're going to do, we've got to get this done. So we're going to go to cell 2. QPQ, is that the same? Yeah, same. QPQ. So we'll do QPQ next. What's this one? But what I'm saying is normally you'd run like many of each. And at the end you get the best one. You never seen Scarface? Good movie. Spotify. Let's see if I can't find it for you. Ah, there it is. My Little Friend. Where's the album that's on? It's from... It's not from that album. Oh, okay, maybe it is. It's from an album called Back to the 90s, which is funny because it's got nothing to do with Scarface. But that's because it's the type of music, you know, I was trying to do like house. Came out a bit poppy, but that's alright. Oh my, that's a strange expression. Let's make another one. The art style is cool though. But that is a very strange, let me just see, can I? No, my thumb doesn't do that. It's on the other side. Hang on. See? No, wait. Wait, no. Thumbs out. Thumbs out. If knuckles back, thumbs out. So yeah, that's wrong. But yeah. Other than that, it looks pretty good. And remember, we're using a style model, so the characters aren't going to be consistent at all. It's just the art style that will be consistent. But then that's a challenge in itself, you see. Really what we're doing right now is just making the backing images, which will become each cell. And I've noticed that they're quite large, so they're going to get downscaled as well, okay? We're not going to be doing 2560 times 8. Oh my god, look at this. He's looking at his watch. I remember that being in the story. He's looking at his grandfather's watch. Oh man, I should have stopped it. I love the clouds though. Clouds in the background and all this stuff is really nice. So if it's bad, I'm going to cancel the upscale. In fact, you know what? We don't even need the upscale. Don't even need the upscale. And the file name is wrong. And then we get a good one. Oh well, it's still going to upscale that one, so that's okay. So what I'll do is I'll use for cell 3. They're going to change size, but these are things which I can just fix on my own. But normally you'd have to like start an entire fresh run. But I'm just making a note of all these things for the version 2 upgrade, you know. So this will be for 3. That's not bad image. So next, I need to pick up the pace, because otherwise we'll never get to the end. I'll do one of those. I should be changing more things, but I'm not. I should change this as well, but I'm not. I'm thinking page, should probably do page 1 for the project, like the page number for the project, and then the cell number for the subfolder, or something like that. However you want to do it. I'll figure out a nice way of doing it. Usually you just hit a problem and fix it, and then you just keep going until you fixed all the problems. Yes. That's a syndicate negotiator. Right, you are. Fine. Zenkai prompt injector. Oh, hell yeah. How are you getting prompts per chapter? Yes. Well, you see, that's all in the... Here, let me walk through the... That's a great question. And what we're going to do is we're going to show off my initial plan, which will explain how the hell I even did that. But it's coffee time. That's right. Do you know, they have loads of cool flavours of Kit Kat in Japan, and you can get Kit Kat mocha latte pod things, right? And I wonder, do they have thousands of cool Kit Kat coffee flavours in Japan? I don't know. But I'm trying it out. Okay. The double. There's a concoction. I'll be up all night. Dragon says he's loving the Zenkai prompt injector. He's made 1,000 prompts just to make images again. Nice. You didn't miss that part when you were walking the dog. I didn't explain it yet. We'll have a look in a minute. I was just collecting like a gallon of coffee and Kit Kat from my machine. Okay. We're back. We're back. So, let's explain. So that's the initial plan that Claude gave me. Forget that. This is what I actually wrote. So is that big enough? Can you actually see it? Let's just make it a little bit over to there, a little bit over here. Oh, really? You can go all the way? I didn't know you could do that. All right. So there we go. It's quite a long prompt, but it makes sense. So we can use the project instructions from Jovian project instructions. So that's your story bucket. We've gone through that in the narrative spittoon before. To write a comic book story in reverse, by guessing what happened in the scene, we will adhere to the project instructions when speculating, writing a single page at a time. We will define the process methodology for this task in planning mode, then I will supply the final page of the story. We will then follow the story bucket, project instructions, so that's all of your character's world. We've covered this. Read the story, page 5. So this is the only thing you write. You write the end. You write the end of the story. It then, within the parameters of your world, characters, writing style, speech, character, whatever, all it, multi-dimensional config, write page 4, which aims to tell the story of how we reached page 5. Use the data linked in, so now we're like super hardcore reinforcing, like, you use this, okay? You don't go off into the woods and just make it up. To inform the story content. Repeat the instruction for each page until you reach page 0, which will be the start of the story. As you step through the pages, use the hero's journey. You can exchange this for any of the 100 that any of the... We made our last 100 years of story types. They're on the GitHub. You can just use any of them for fun. Averaged over the 6 pages. If you change the number of pages, you'll want to, if you change it to 10 pages or 2 pages, you'll want to obviously alter things. It starts at 0, so it's 6 pages from 5. As you step through the pages, use the hero's journey in reverse, averaged over the 6 pages, to introduce elements to the story as you write each page. When page 0, now this is all narrative spittoon, with slight changes to give a bit of context that actually we're writing a comic book at the moment, okay? This is the new stuff here. When page 0 has been completed, we can use the story in each page to convert the story into a comic book cell sequence format. Starting with page 0, we will write new files containing the image prompts paired with speech when detected, for each cell to be used as speech bubbles, done separately, which is what we're looking at the moment. All layout is done in post-production. Prediction. So we only need the create, nice, the initial sequence for the comic book version. We can output the sequence of comic cells according to the story on the current page, creating an image prompt and a speech quote if speech is present in the cell. When there's no speech, an empty file is created to complete the pair, because you can't have failing tuples. We don't like that. For each page in the story folder, because that's where the story will be written, we will create new folders using a template naming convention. So most of this is about that. Image underscore page number cell number. Speech underscore page number cell number. Then it explains what that format is so that it can, I'm teaching it the pattern so that it can generate and just make them, which it does, it's fine. So example, first file name pair, image page 0 cell 01 contains the image prompt for the first cell in the comic book. Okay, it contains any speech for speech bubbles, yeah. So that's what it is. We've already covered all that stuff tonight. This provides the visual information for the cell, image prompt. Process is repeated to convert the story by creating the full sequence of cells paired with any speech and potential narration until the page is complete. Process is then repeated for the remaining pages inside story. For prompt templating, alignment in the cell sequence construction, this is the style stuff. This is really important. So you change this to match the files that you put. So if you have a Laura you want to work with, you get the caption, you get the... Most people that train Lauras will give you a caption file. If they don't, well, sucks. But if you trained your own Laura, you will have all the captions. You can put them into a list. You put them in this, and it's gonna dynamically choose the best Laura by the caption. You know what I mean? It's gonna go, oh, you need to use this one, right, for this scene. So, anyway, gives you a shopping list of prompts to go and get good images from. Okay, that's the idea. Right? And obviously, if we fine tune it better, it'll be better. So that was the plan. Now, the initial that came back from Claude was quite interesting, because what he did was, I just hit plan. I didn't change anything. I just hit plan. So, yeah. So Johan and Thora escaping from Junction Storm, self-imposed exile, no way to return. So here's the inversion of the hero's journey, which is how he's planned out how he's going to write everything. We've got thematic thread development, each page moving backward, we will, all the stuff, all the things we programmed, and then break each page into 4 to 6 distinct visual moments. Create paired files for each cell. So this is the bit that you were asking about, Dragon. Okay. Use appropriate style prompts for the different Lauras. So obviously character focus, it's going to use Thora. Airship exterior, going to use these. Interiors, these. So what I'm showing you here is, it's a way for it to dynamically use up to 4 different Lauras to illustrate your story. So if you've got 4 different Lauras for, you know, I've got, this is for character close-ups, this is for big scenes, okay? Yes, that's right, Dragon. Yes, you can do copy star text, output text. Yep, yeah, you can do that. What do you do when it's subdirectories? Now you'll see why I made what I made. I have to make it span many subdirectories. But anyway, you don't have to. Who cares? The point is, I made a custom node for that. Where is it? Here it is. Path to captions. Put the path in there, let it rip. And then you can do all kinds of cool stuff with it. So I got it where I just put the path here and it gives me my file. And it uses the folder name to name the file. You know? So I just generally do that. But, you know, when you're talking about that. But yeah, you can use the command line if you want to use the command line. Okay. So where were we? Right. So anyway, it explains the plan of how it's going to write the story, but what I was trying to... You asked me how it breaks up the cells, so that's how it breaks up the cells. Okay? It's quite interesting, actually, because it's pretty much... This is pretty much the... That's the piston in the engine right there. Break each page into 4 to 6 distinct visual moments. Is pretty much, that's, you know, everything else is just making it do what I want it to do, but the actual mechanical, the thing that's doing the work here. I mean, you know, I've come up with this speech system and all of this, but really, to make the comic format, it's just write the story backwards, break each page into 4 to 6 distinct visual moments. But obviously it's like, well, how are they going to look? And that's why we've got the Laura captions driving how it's going to make, you know, we're using retrieval augmented generation here. That's what it actually is. It's RAG without vectors. It's funny. Okay, right, so all that's been explained. We've got that. We're running through the prompts. So how many did we get to? We've got to like 3, and then I started getting hung up on explaining things again. So I think we need to pick up the pace. Where is it? Is it this one we're working on? Yeah. It's because I keep forgetting to change the thing. That's no good. How are we going to know what's what? To be honest, I think it's going to become more focused on the actual comic bubbles in a minute, because, you know, we all know you could spend a couple of days getting the good images together. Okay, so I'm just going to get a couple more, and then I'm just going to collect them. But my idea is change the cells and stuff. Like, you'd need, if you're going to run more than one, you have to do the cells and stuff. I'm just not going to, because the focus here is to try and get to, like, placeholder and try to get to the, what do you call it, the actual bubble bit, because that's the bit I want to look at, and I think that's the bit that's going to take the time. So I'm just going to take each. We've only got a couple more. So I spent a long time trying to lay out, because the reality is, look, we can do 3 prompts like that, and it's like, if I had it set up, oh my god, that's super cartoon. Some of them have been like, the style's all over the place. But it's fine. It's going to give me a bunch of stuff. And hopefully the speech bubbles... Oh no, that's like a photo. Oh, probably because I got the model sampling flux too high. Damn it. 1. I was experimenting last night. Okay. Let's do that last one more time. I love this, like, because in the prompt it's like the square corridor, right? So it thinks there's like a white square around but what it is there's clouds all the way round. See, I haven't trained the actual imagery, so it doesn't understand. So here, where does it say it? Hey, look. The blue expanse of the corridor stretches before them with its distinctive white rectangular frame extending to the horizon. And so it's made a white rectangular frame on the horizon. Because it doesn't understand what that concept is. We haven't trained it in. So now it's just making... Because I'm describing a thing which is relevant to the story. And obviously if you haven't trained the imagery, it doesn't know what? What do you mean a white rectangle? It actually did a pretty good job of trying to make sense of it, if you ask me. But yeah. Look, we're always going to get these white things. But the rest of it's great. So, right. Enough of that. Got to move on to the next thing. So, we're going to go into 14. We're going to go into... See, I made all these. I'm like trying to get the most out of 14 as I can before it dies. Okay, so it's going to be FODA, comic testing. It's going to be a bit strange, because I turned the upscaler off eventually, because I realised it was too big, and it's like, I'd need to shrink them down again, you know, which is what I do. I'll upscale it and then shrink them back down. It's super easy to do, and the images do look better for it, you know. Right. Why? Well, it makes the image more better. We only actually need 8 images, okay? So I'm going to take that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. That's 6, 7, 8. Okay, we'll take those. So this is going to be my donor images. All right. Sample. Right. So test. Oh. Cooked. Right. Test. Come on, my guy. Right, there we go. Boom. Right, so now we've got files. We'll rename them to page 0 underscore, and it'll be, yeah, page underscore cell 01. Oh, give us a sec. You can't bulk rename in there, so give us a minute. Yeah, if you didn't know this, you can bulk rename. Obviously, you'll want to put them in the order you want first, but it doesn't really matter right now. And you should be able to bulk rename them all. Oh, look at me, not allowing me to do the things I do all the time. Right. You're making me look bad in front of my friends. Come on. Stop being annoying. Right. I do this all the time. There we go. Well, that wasn't so hard. It's probably because I had a file selected that was already called that, so he was just like, what do you want me to do? So I'm going to obviously update these to actually be what they should be, so that we've got a live, like, this is a sample for testing the script that will build many pages, so it doesn't even matter what order they're in, to be honest. Obviously, more time means these are, you've just got to imagine, these are the best images that came out of the prompts that were the story in sequence, you know, just you just got to imagine, because we're not, like I said, I'm trying to get to the point where I can actually build the speech bubble system, you know what I mean? Everything else before that we have to assume is already working. Otherwise it's like, what are you doing? Okay, so this is what those pages should look like when they're done. Obviously we don't need the image at the front. Okay, so that means now we need text files that will pair with these. And yep, you guessed it. It's in the sample. It's these files here. And obviously we get it, we strip the prefix. When we build the second set, we strip the prefix. So I'm just going to strip the prefix myself. A script would do that though. So essentially you're now, you know, it's now a paired set of speech and image, which is what the speech bubble needs to actually, you know what text to put in while it's making the pages. Ah, crap. I went too far. It's funny, I was seeing a friend the other night, and he said, we were talking about the encrypted memory MCP and stuff, and he was like, damn, you're about 3 commits away from creating Skynet, mate. It's like, the funny thing is, I think everybody is. It's quite funny. But yeah, super potential for security, big time. Anyway, so now we have our image and what the speech should be. Okay, now I'm not going to say whether this is actually good speech for the page or not. I'll deal with accuracy of the generation later. What I want to do is get that text over that image. That's what my goal is. So this is now ready, right? We just need to make some changes. So I'm now going to get rid of this because it's going to confuse everything we try to do, right? It's not lost. I've already got it up and archived, so I don't lose a thing. We also don't need the sample anymore, okay? Wait a minute. Yeah, we don't need the sample anymore either, okay? It's already in the thing. All right? So now all we've got is what should be the output from the agent. This is what it, you know, once we've made the images and we've paired them with the speech, this is going to be our actual, this is going to get converted into a page. So that's the next step. So first things first, let's go and grab the code for that. And it doesn't matter how many steps there are, because you can put them all into one automated flow. When it all works, you can just put it all in one go. Have an MCP use them as tools. So we're building the bridge first time, and then we'll have it fold up into a briefcase later. So, you know, I'm more interested in just making sure it doesn't collapse under its own weight at the moment, you know. So if we grab Auto Panel CLI, we're going to be doing Auto Panel V2. That's what this is. So it's going to be a Git clone again. Take Auto Panel, and just to run you through that, we have an install.bat because it does require Pillow. We're going to do a virtual environment for Pillow, guys. Let's do it. Auto Panel CLI. In what, really? I got to type it all because I go install.bat because Python, not Python, PowerShell special. It's going to create a very special virtual environment with Pillow 10. Okay, and then we're going to use start layout. So / start layout. Well, that's interesting. I never even told it what to do. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Whoops. Okay, so somehow it's already got a load of stuff to do. Somehow. So it's going ahead. Look, stop. Stop. What was it doing? It was just making a book. Yeah, it was just making a book. So hang on, where's the preset? Because when I did the batch file, it didn't. Normally it asks you, what do you want to do? So hang on, Python Composer, and then there's a path to... Okay. So basically I forgot. I probably... Yeah. I bet it says in the README, change the path. So that's on me. So yeah, we'll get test. Because I didn't mean to like go ahead and like do an entire book. There we go. So it's got eight images. There's an overlay frame. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up with -- speech, and then, you know, a path to where the speech files are. Well, to be honest, I guess it's already, you just use the same file, right? Because yeah, it's the same path. So I could just say use the image path as the speech path. I suppose you do need to change the presets to include speech bubble stuff, or create a new preset config. That's probably the best way to do it. Have speech bubble configs as JSON. So just so you know, guys, this is like literally fresh. We haven't made this. I'm literally live doing, you know, like, oh, throw it together, right? So we've literally like, oh, I've never even thought about how we can do this. Okay, so my line of thought here is that we end up with maybe we go -- bubble, and then like bubble / and then there'd be a bubble preset. So then you can make your own, and it's all customizable, because you need to be able to choose fonts, sizes, colors, backgrounds, outlines. You just need stuff. You can't just be like Comic Sans black and white. I mean, I could do that now to like just proof of concept, but I want it to be robust out the gate. Otherwise, you could just do it in Photoshop, right? Like, it's got to be as good as you know. If you can do it in Photoshop in like a couple of hours manually, you know, by making your own templates, setting it all up, and just loading your images and just doing it. If you can do that in a couple of hours, it has to match that and be faster. Otherwise, you know, it looks worse, doesn't it? So, I don't know. That's just where I'm coming from on this one. So yeah, my idea would be a preset JSON for the bubbles, and then we get another option switch into this panel composer. Right. So first things first, let's actually run it. We've saved it with the new path, so now we actually should get like a folder. I'm just going to delete this folder, it's quite confusing. It's because it was set up for a path on my machine already by the looks of it, so it just works. Right, there we go. It's added the overlay. Let's have a look at it. Okay, so we have ourselves a comic book layout. I'll admit, look, we've talked about this in the past, you know. The overlay is just a black frame, which matches this. So what I would do is I would have a bleed area, and I would maybe use some cool angles. But this is the maximum amount of space you have. So like you could make like slight angles and stuff. You know, yeah. Essentially, you can fill in at the cost of losing some of the image, you know, when making like a custom overlay. Like it could have like a little thing in the corner, and it could have like company name down here, or the name of the story, or whatever it is. So there's a lot of customization, and that's just the PNG overlay, right? So you've got to imagine these are good images that make sense from the context of the story that's being told, right? And so the goal now is to put some speech bubbles on top. So somebody said earlier, how do you know where to put them? And the answer is, I don't think you do. And I think what we might have to do is make like a JSON file where it will default, you know, like this one will default to this corner here. But then that would go over his head, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's a real problem. Maybe it goes down here. So I think there's a little bit of like, you've got to keep the human in the loop. And I think like deciding where it's going to go, which corner. So it's a quick decision to go bottom left, bottom right, top left. That person doesn't matter, so bottom left. Bottom left again, maybe the middle might fit, top, maybe. Top right and top left, and then but then what about second line? Yeah, what about, well, he says something, then she says something, so maybe you put his line here and then you put her line here. So it's like there's places on the screen where you can put it, and then what I would do is have like a little bit of offset jiggle, so it's not going to be perfectly there. If you pick that corner, it's going to be a little bit up, a little bit down, a bit of jiggle, just so it's not like robotic in the same place all the time. Could you use vision? Yes, you could, but then you'd have to do a vision call for every single image. And if you were going to do that, I would do it separately. So that's a really good point. And I did think about it. Let me just lay it out for you. So if you were going to do an extra step there like that, essentially you have the story being made, then you have the panels being made, then you have them being arranged into like a grid, and then it's done. So like, say we wanted to have vision come in and decide where the bubbles go, it has to happen before here, and you have to do every single image. So what I would do is I would do it separately. And so then you know how at the moment we've got images with speech. Yeah. If I was going to do this vision step, right, to determine where the freeze point is, the prompt would be which corner is not covering the focus, something like that. But I would do it separately as a batch, and I would actually make a third element to this data set, and the third element would be the result. And the reason would be that then when we automate the grid creation, it could use the result to position the speech. The problem is, like I said, at the moment we've only got 8 pictures, but doing that to every single image is a costly process that we try to avoid, but not such a big deal when you think that we caption image sets all the time. So it's a good idea, but it's like a side quest. We'd have to go off and develop that aspect on its own. If it worked, though, that would be a great solution. So I rate that as good. But we're not going to be doing that exact thing today. Although it's a great idea. It's probably worth thinking about, actually. Not a bad idea, you know, because then, of course, I don't need to decide. But I do kind of like keeping people in the loop, you know. All right. So anyway, it's created it. Oh, wait, it did 2 pages? Oh, okay, so there's 8 pictures and there's only 6. Okay, fine. That doesn't matter. So, how are we going to do this overlay, right? So, obviously here we have the images and there is a pair. So, we could tell it to look at that pair, right? But I've got no idea. Again, we're doing this like, I'm doing this like out the gate. Out the gate, no plans, live. Like, we'll do it live, right? I'm not like copying from anywhere or anything like that. It's literal. When I have it made earlier, I have it made earlier. I don't this time. So this is the plan. We're going to make a prompt and we're essentially going to be upgrading auto panel CLI. It's an upgrade, right? So if I close, in fact, no, I need that open actually. I need that open. I need to see what it looks like. I mean, we need to think about it. So I'm thinking new folder called, oh, no, not that. New folder called bubbles. Okay. And then inside there we'll go the config. Okay, so again, this is a new thing I'm doing as well, guys. I've started doing this a lot more. As we go forward, it'll be better because I feel like I wish I'd always done this. It's one of those. Make a plan folder, inside of it, put a plan.txt and type in there what your first prompt is. Because, yeah. It's easier to just here. I hate the shift enter thing, automatically submitting half, you know, I do it. Submit a half-baked plan, you know, or just gets a typo. It's annoying. Yeah, side quests offer opportunities to break things, indeed. Right, so yeah, this keeps it nice and clean, and it gives you an instant place to go back to if you want to be like bad seed. Let's re-roll, you know. So from this point, we can update auto. Oh, come on, slash. Oh yeah, of course, it's not going to do it because I remember I'm in chat. Panel CLI. There, we can update auto panel CLI. Yes. To add a new stage to the process where we will add an overlay. Wait, I think I've just hit a bit of a problem. I want to put the bubbles over the top at the end, but I've just realized that they won't be put there. I think I still have a solution, but we're going to have to do it in a funny way. So, yeah, add a new stage to the process. We will add an overlay, a text overlay. Add speech bubble text overlays to each image as it is being arranged into the comic panel layout. Okay, that's a lot of text, but it's not really much in the great scheme of things. Save that. I think that's good context. Okay. Okay, so we can add a new mode of operation, speech. Speech path. to, in fact, no, doesn't need that. It's the same path. Speech, which when used in the CLI will modify the loading behavior of the images from the path of the of the modify the image loading behavior. Okay. Each image has a corresponding pair. Each image has a pair in this mode, or I should say that actually. Let's put it in. In speech, well, when speech mode is enabled, when speech option is enabled, a pair of files is loaded. Yes. Okay. Getting somewhere. Copy that. Copy that. Okay, so path to images. I know, I'm putting them the wrong way round, but it's fine. It'll still be understood. Path to images, page 1.png.text. So .png, this is the image to be arranged into the layout as normal. Okay, cool. And then path to images cell.text, the speech text to be overlaid. The speech text to be used when generating speech bubbles. Okay, cool. Save that. Okay. Coffee's getting cold. I got to drink it now. That was beautiful. Actually did taste like a Kit Kat as well. Okay. The speech text to be used when generating speech bubbles. Okay, right. We can create a new config file named bubble style, or named custom. Okay, right, hang on a sec. New config file in the... Let's not do that. In the bubbles folder, named config.json. Okay, so you know what? Now I've got a reason. Bubbles/config.json. There we go. Let's get into where I was. See, I had the dream. Now I got to make it real. We create the config file in the bubbles folder named config.json, which will define all the options needed to create the speech bubbles. Okay, so font, size, background, outline. I mean, you actually don't call it outline, do you? You call it stripe? No. I'm losing my mind on terminology here, but I'm just going to say background color, text color, and other options. Other options needed for the stylization of the speech bubble overlay, such as such as rounded corners. Rounded corners. Such as rounded corners. Save that. Okay, we might consider using CSS to give a greater degree of control over text overlays. Okay, I think that's good. Additionally, the bubbles/config.json will contain the offset presets for the position in the relative position, relative position of the speech bubble. It will also determine the position of subsequent bubbles in the case where multiple speakers are talking in one cell. Okay. I've got to try and catch every outcome. We'll also determine the position of the subsequent bubbles. Yeah. We can expose the option for fuzzy offset, which will jiggle the final value by plus minus 10 pixels or a user defined number to prevent the template feeling too mechanical. Okay. Now I think the last trick would be putting it on top at the end, but that's like my sort of slam dunk. At the moment, it's going to be underneath because the fact that it happens last, you know what I mean? the overlay goes on last, but what I want to do is change it. When we get it working, change the order so that it kind of holds it. It kind of goes, okay, I know where to put them, but I won't put them there until after I've done the overlay, which is like kind of like doing a backflip while you're doing the slam dunk. So I know it's more complex, so I'm not going to do that yet. But again, this is why you have the prompt, because again, I could just come back here and say, and then do a backflip, and then do a backflip while slam dunk. You know what I mean? But right now, let's keep it to this level here. There's still some more stuff to put in, but not that, because I know that'll make him go through a loop. People are like, but how do I put the thing on top of the thing that's on top? Yeah. So we'll do that. We'll figure that out. I know he can do it, but it's like, let's just get one thing in. So it might be a complete nightmare, and we have to do loads of work on this bit, you see. Okay. Bubbles config contains offset presets as well. So we're trying to put everything in one config. I think it works, though, because it means you have a style you can apply forever. And then when you make the comic, it'll always look like that. So as long as you take the time to define it, it's like golden. Just got to make it work. Fuzzy offset is an option, so you can just, turn that off if you just want it to be perfect and clean every page. Okay, for example, lower speech bubbles Yeah, for example, well, do you know what, yeah. Typically, they would be... Oh, do you know what, that's harder. Laddering is going to be hard. I'm just going to leave it at that for now. That's another thing. Do you know what I'm talking about with laddering? Here, I'll show you. It's like this. You have a comic, and you have a person, and he's talking to another person. And the speech bubble comes in. He's like, I'm first to talk. So then he's second to talk. So then he talks again. And then, well, I guess we have to do another cell, because otherwise the speech bubble's going to be like going off the bottom of this picture. And then maybe he does a close-up. And he says, I said this thing. And then someone off screen says something else. And then he says something else. And then, again, if the other person... Nope. So there's going to be some, you know, there's going to be issues because of the fact that you're automating it. But you can get around all this stuff. You can get around all of it. I think the hard part is going to be getting the text to actually look good. Like, what size does it have to be? All that sort of stuff. We're not actually shrinking the page down, so it will be readable in full size, but it won't be readable when you, like, as a reader would read it. So there's going to be some finesse in the font. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else I can think of here? I've told him there's a data set pair. And I've made it so it's even like a mode, you know, so if you activate speech bubbles config, oh, that's a point. We should say a new mode of operation, so before I keep going, okay. Okay, so when the dash speech is not used, the logic will function as normal. As normal as it already does. So then it's like a proper flag now. That's a little operation there. So that's what I wanted to do. Question is, what will the config look like? Will it have enough in it? Have I considered everything? I said consider CSS. He'll tell me in the plan. Sometimes I like to just sit there and look at it. I know it sounds strange. You just like look at it and go, And I'm not thinking about spelling errors either. I'm sure there's a couple in there. I'm thinking about... I think that's it. I'm going to go with that for now. Because otherwise you'd be like... just looking at it forever. My MCPs are cooked. It's alright, we're not using them tonight. I was too busy making this new MCP for downloading YouTube, and like I said, it works, but it doesn't. It works, and it doesn't. So it works, but also it broke my MCP servers. So, I don't know. Never mind. Oh, look at this. Coming at it with the win. Look at this. Bubbles config JSON. Defont style Arial 24 black. Background color black. Border color black. Border width. Padding. Border radius. Bubble placement. So we've got our offsets. We've got a fuzzy offset with a range. Multi-speaker spacing. Ooh. He might have figured it out from my intent here. That's why I tried to get as much of my intent into the plan. Because I know that he'll go, oh yeah, I know how to do that. I'll just use that algorithm everyone forgot about. Or something, you know, that's what this is. We've forgotten more than we know. And this allows us to kind of like do summoning. Give me the code everyone forgot about. Claude. create a text processing module, parse the text files. Right, so I need to now do a little bit. This is something I keep telling people about, the refining stage, okay? So I'm actually going to go to my plan, and I'm going to... There's some refining here. So he doesn't know what to do with the files. So this isn't in the prompt. But that's okay. So I'm going to say... this is a typical... Right. This is a typical speech data file. Or a speech... typical paired speech data file. Okay. Yeah. Okay. When we are taking, oh wait, no, we can read this information and only use what is inside the quotes. Okay, so that's number one. And then number two, yeah, the names are not required. That's all I need to say for now, I think. Oh my gosh. Start, load images, speech option, no, skip, yes, find the thing, parse it, generate, process, compose, save, end. Okay. Now there is one thing, see, I don't know, I'm going to try and get it in the plan, guys. We're going to go for the, do you know what? This is looking good. So, this looks really good, actually. Max width, okay, yeah, nice. It's got text wrapping in there. Position of the first bubble. How to position bubbles in multi-speaker. Vertical with 15 between them. Vertical or horizontal. And then we've got random variation. Text parsing, we're going to use regex, that's what I wanted. Extract text inside the quote marks, yeah. Create a list of dialogue snippets. For example, this becomes this. And then speech bubble. Calculate bubble size based on text length and max width. Create rounded rectangle. Render the text inside the bubble. Position the first bubble according to the thing. So that's up to you. Position subsequent bubbles based on multi-speaker direction and spacing. Apply fuzzy offset. Modified command line. So yeah, speech default none. Path to speech. Yeah. Load the speech for each you found. Parse dialogue. Oh, I think we might have to go for the backflip, guys. It's looking good. Look at this. Process for speech. Load image. Check text. File exists. Extract. Make bubbles. Process. More images. Go. Right. Okay. I'm going to go for the backflip, okay? We can... Oh my gosh. I don't want to say we can do, because that's like saying get. Got is one of the laziest words in the English languages. I got this, I got that. There's always a better word. And it's very important when it comes to natural language processing. Even so, got is probably really powerful because it's misused so much. But we can do is a bit lazy. I should try to be more precise. So what I'm trying to say is we can do the speech bubbles last. That would be a natural way of saying it, but it's very imprecise. We can do the speech bubbles last. Actually, what I mean to say is we can apply as the top layer. That's what I really mean to say. So we can apply the speech bubbles to the top layer after the overlay has been applied, this can allow the speech bubbles to break outside the layout cells, okay, cells without clipping allowing the dialogue to breathe in the page. Sort of like, because it makes it more alive in your, if you ask me. I don't know what it is. It's such a subtle thing, but you can apply the speech bubbles to the top layer after the overlay has been applied. So hold the, okay. If needed, hold the information required, or yeah, if needed, hold the layers and the layer, well, it's layer information. Do you know what? I'm just gonna not say it. I'm not gonna say it. Can't do a backflip and then tell him which leg to use first. Gotta just go for the backflip and hope it didn't cook the entire thing. He should be able to figure it out. Yeah, bubble to extend beyond cell boundaries. Oh boy. It's tough because it's not really a you know, when you're making images go into a grid, the grid doesn't really exist until it's put together. So when you start talking about, oh, I want it to overlap, it's like, what do you mean you want it to overlap? So let's have a look at this crazy, oh my god. Okay. Okay, so let's look at this now. I love this. This is the most fun thing to do. It really is. So, Arial 24, black, white background, black border color. Border width 2, padding 10, border radius 15, opacity 0.9, line spacing 1.2, max width 400, minimum width 100, drop shadow true, shadow offset 3, RGBA shadow colors, bubble placement, default position, top right, left right, see this is what I wanted, remember? Offset X, offset Y, offset from the chosen position, multi-speaker handling, multi-speaker direction, vertical, so it's going to go down, right? And it's going to go, I guess, it's going to alternate sides. If it doesn't, we can tell it to. Obviously, it's a bit late once we get past here, but you've seen it was just a matter of, I want this, I want that. I'm not going to be bothered about doing that again, you know? It's easy. Fuzzy offset true, fuzzy offset range 10, so that's my little idea there to make it a little bit less robotic. Obviously, you can change that amount. Allow the bubble to extend beyond the cell boundaries. Now, technically, at this point, it shouldn't matter, but I think it's something to do with the math, because technically the math could go negative or over the max width, so we're kind of allowing that to happen, all right? And then, so having a margin is sensible. So now, looking at our flow, start, pass argument, load the preset, speech option enabled, no, skip it, blank page, yes, collect the text files, blank page, place images in cells, speech enabled, no, skip, yes, store cell positions. Ha ha ha, yeah, see, he's done it without me telling him to, because he knows what to do. Apply overlay if provided, speech enabled, no, skip, yes, apply bubbles, save page, more pages, loop. Ooh, wait a minute. What do you mean you're gonna... Oh, okay, yeah, more pages, make another blank page. I was worried for a minute there that he was like, write the whole thing and then erase it and start again. But no, the end. Okay. So, during image placement, we'll store the position of each image within the page. We'll maintain a mapping of each image file. So that's how he can do it last. Instead of just cooking it to the image, he's going to hold it, okay, and then at the top, boom, on top it goes. Instead of generating bubbles for each cell, we'll collect dialogue. After page composition is complete, we'll render bubbles. Bubbles will be positioned relative to source cells but can extend beyond the boundaries. Yes! Did we just do a backflip and a slam dunk? If it doesn't work, then we just landed flat on our faces, so we'll have to let it cut now. Bubble positioning algorithm. Start with the specified position, apply offset adjustment and fuzzy. Check if bubble would extend beyond page boundaries. Adjust positioning if necessary to stay within margin. So that'll stop it from going like way out of the different, you know, it's that speech bubble is a different galaxy. That's not going to happen. Like a video game, there's like a invisible wall around there. So we'll modify create comic pages to add the code. I'm not even going to read it. Speech bubble generation function. We'll create a new function to handle bubble generation and placement. Page cells, image, path, speech, config. Transparent layer for the bubbles. Hell yeah. With this approach, we ensure that speech bubbles are last. Bubbles can extend beyond boundaries. Visual overlay gets applied before them. And the entire process is optional and only activates when speech is used. So that's just perfect implementation. If it can pull that off, I mean, I'll have to hire out 3 more clones. Off he goes. And hopefully we'll be able to run it once and see what happens, because obviously the first run probably won't be a slam dunk. It probably will be a faceplant, but you know, we'll debug it and eventually it will be a backflip to slam dunk every time, and then all you have to worry about is your images. So then, because what I want to do is I want to create a situation where you can spend all the time on making good images and making and refining the stories, you know. And then basically you can just be like, yep, story's solid, images look great, put it all together, hit the button, send it, and then you've got a comic book. I mean, I don't know what else to say. And I'm sure that you could fork my work and refine it and make it better. So watch out for the release, because this one will be coming out as soon as I get it working. And well, I hope we get to show something. I'm just going to see. I don't think it's going to take him long to implement what I asked him to do. So hold tight. Ah, Dragon, you make a good point. Are we going arse about tit here? Can't we prompt the image generation to make the bubbles for us so that they're in place? Yeah, you could, but will they actually spell what they need to spell every time, or will you need to generate them 20 times to get the spelling right? I would rather do 20 images to get the image right and then have Python write the text from my story. Because remember, the story has the lines, the story has the speech, yeah? And then we're gonna like put that in an image prompt and then hope that it actually spells everything right and all this and that. So I'm like, okay, don't bother with that. Focus on what the image model is good at, making good images that are like consistent in the theme with our characters. And then if you want to put, and also here's the other thing, if you do a speech bubble on one image and then you make another image and do a speech bubbles aren't consistent. The font's not consistent, the size isn't consistent, the colours aren't consistent. So you spend all that time making consistent characters and art style, and then you look busted because your speech bubbles are just like completely random mode, right? Because nobody's fine-tuning speech bubbles, I tell you that now. But you don't need to though. You can just set them programmatically and have it LLM write everything. This is all automated, you know. By the time we get to the end of this process, it will be able to write the story, write the comic book, generate the images, put the speech bubbles on. And it's like, well, you've just done everything from writing one page. You wrote the end of one story and you got a comic book out of it. So I want to have, you know, that experience I said when I said I wrote a book and I read it for the first time and I didn't know what it was, you know, because I read it because it was written backwards with AI. I had no idea how the story starts. And so the beauty was I was getting the excitement of a reader, even though I'm the author. And I was like, this is a whole new thing. And I thought to myself, well, imagine if we could do that with comics, make it more visual. It's going to be a lot harder because you have to align it with pre-trained lorers and stuff. But I think the more generic the lore you use, and the more generic the story, the easier this is actually going to be. I think you make it harder for yourself by trying to, you know, do too much. You know what I mean? Anyway, because like I said, I have experimented with it. There are people that, you know, can do the bubbles in the prompts, you know, it does work, but it's kind of like a one-off thing. If you try to actually make a comic book and then you look at all of the pages, you'll be like, oh, it's like a completely different style every time there's a speech bubble. Like if you're into typography, it will trigger you. And there's no way to change it. That's the other thing. You can't just edit it, right? This way, when you get it right, it'll look good every time. You could even have presets for narrators. You could have it automatically recognize characters and do different colors. All kinds of stuff that can be done when you do it this way, right? You could even put markup in. That's why I was like, CSS. Because then you could do markup in the HTML, right? And we could have it convert it for us. So I'm doing things which are easy to automate so that in the end, you just get a batch file. Bosh, off it goes, does the whole thing for you. As much automation as possible, but with lots of configs so that you can actually control it. Because it's all about intent. The biggest problem with auto mode is you lose your intent because it starts to do what the model wants. I'm sure we all know what I'm talking about. When we're having a great time and the model's doing what we want, and then for whatever reason, it takes over and stops listening to us. Yeah, same thing. Anyway, that's enough of that. It wants to run this apparently. What's this? Auto panel, CLI bubbles, config. I don't think I've even set. Okay, fine. Error. No? No such thing as too cold preset. No? Yeah? Hang on. How about we do start layout actually? Yeah, how about we do start layout? So what's it say? D tools, bubbles test, fit cover, overlay, frame, speech bubbles. There we go. Yeah, so we want to do this one. Set use speech 1. What the hell has it done to my batch file? What the hell have you done? He's turned it into something arcane. Can we not start it? No, we can't. We've got to go into the file, haven't we? Yeah. Okay. And then it's / start layout.bat. Okay, it worked. But wait, to use speech bubbles. Okay. So I need to do. Okay. Okay. Apparently there were no errors. That's a good sign. Let's have a look and see where we got to. No. What the? No. I don't see no speech bubbles. Oh shit. Oh, sheesh. Whoa. Okay. It's doing it, but we need to work on the offsets. Dude, let's check this out. Initial results from the alpha, everybody. This is awesome. Okay. It's going to work. It's going to work. It's going to work. Look, I know it doesn't look great right now. It's even got the little thing on it. Where did that come from? Look, guys, I'll be honest. I don't even know where the triangle came from, okay? I don't even know I don't even know how. I've no idea. So what's happening here is it's offset to the top right corner, obviously, but you know, the whatchamacallit, the you know, it needs to be more away from the corner, put it that way. Yeah, so everything is being like, so I need to put like, I think it said 15. I probably need like 150 or something, right? It's probably like way too lot, like way not enough. It's probably more than that actually, because if they're 400 wide, if they're 400 wide max and minimum 200, then it's got to be offset in from the side by at least 400. You know what I mean? By at least 400. But yeah, look at that. It actually is. This is going to work. It's just a little bit of tweaking. I've just got to tweak the config. Tweak the config, change the values, pick a different font. Tell your boss the price went up. Robbery! 30%. Anyway. Alright. So that's where I jump off the bus. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Look forward to this release. It's going to be awesome when it's working. I'm just going to keep working on it tonight. That's my Sunday night project. So, thank you very much, ladies and gents. It's been awesome. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Well, I think we're just starting at 8 p.m. GMT now. It seems to be the natural place. I'm going to stop fighting. I'm going to stop fighting the order. And just 8 o'clock. That's what it is. All right. Thank you all. I'll see you all next time.